So I want to tell you about the greatest thing that happened to me yesterday.
What happened?
So one of the kids went outside and said, "There's a package outside." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
package, great.
yeah." And it was a big, like it was big box. People
Oh,
can't, listeners
yeah,
can't
but
see this, but it
yeah,
was big. It was a
bigger
big
than your
box.
head. Yeah.
I was like, I haven't ordered anything. So I was really excited. And then I flipped it over to see who it was from. And it was from the most glorious psychologist that we work with, who
Oh,
had gifted
oh,
me 4 packets of avocado oil,
oh,
sweet
Monica.
potato chips,
Oh my
different
God.
flavors. It was
The
the
best gift.
greatest. It was the best gift one could have opened on a whatever day it was yesterday
Yes, you would
afternoon.
have all of your dreams came true in that
All of my
package.
chip dreams came true. I
Oh,
was so thrilled. I wrote her a message to let her know that. It was so lovely. Anyway, and then I proceeded to eat an entire bag to
good,
myself just straight away,
good.
immediately, and can confirm are amazing.
Are they the sweet
Uh,
potato chips?
They're sweet potato avocado oil, and the
Oh,
ones that
beautiful.
I was gifted are there's two flavors. One is a jalapeno and one is a barbecue. And
Yep.
there's like, and I've got 4 bags, and I've already
God.
consumed one and a half.
That is
And
fantastic. What a gift.
what
What a
a
gift. It's the
gift!
gift of the chip, but also the gift of the surprise.
Oh, it's both. And
Oh,
I
how
just,
lovely.
my text couldn't convey
Oh.
my level of excitement. I wanted to make a video, but I thought that that might be too confronting.
Oh, I would have liked that.
Oh, anyway, it was wonderful. And
Oh,
that was my day yesterday. It was
fantastic. Thank you for
thrilling.
sharing. Good morning, Sienna.
Good morning, Sally. That was
How are
felt
you?
very, who are those
Oh, very
people?
melodic.
Yes,
Oh,
melodic. Thank you.
yes. And like we were conducted.
Conducting. Yes, conducting.
Good morning. Well, we're talking about something very calming and wonderful and peace-filled and just delightful today. We're talking about
Mm.
blue and green
I
spaces.
know. What are these? What is this jargon that we are talking about?
Yeah, well, they're both linked to nature,
Yes. So,
aren't they?
yeah, they are. Well, so essentially, we're talking about green and blue spaces.
Yep.
We will define what those are. But
Mm.
essentially, why nature is so powerful for our
Yeah.
health. We've said before, sleep is the underdog.
Yeah.
I just think somewhere health is an underdog. Not health. Green and blue
Yeah.
spaces and nature is there as well. We don't give it any credit.
Yeah, you're right. Because we give all the credit to diet, exercise,
Oh,
medication. We give
absolutely.
all the credit to these things. And yes, they are very important when it comes to our
Mm.
health. But you're right.
Hmm.
There are things like sleep. We've talked about sleep. But
Yep.
there's also this thing called nature and spending
This thing
time in
called
nature.
nature. And I just want to
Mm.
say from the start that
Mm.
historically,
Mm.
hunters and gatherers, back in the
Oh,
day,
yeah.
humans were very accustomed to spending the majority of their time in nature, right? Because
Mm.
we were foraging in the woods,
Yeah.
we were fishing like we had to eat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But now we
Yeah.
spend, especially in winter, we spend, wait for it,
Yeah.
90% of our time indoors.
Wow.
90%. So there's this almost this
Mm.
disconnect and this
Mm.
detachment from our
Mm.
nature surroundings.
Mm.
We do have times, and I know you'll touch on this from your recent
Mm.
experience, we
Of
do have little
course.
pockets of time where we
Yes.
spend more time outdoors, but largely we spend a lot of time indoors.
Does. And can I just add to that, your comment about winter and 90% inside, so true. But also, I find that now not every home has air conditioning, like we're talking kind of
Mm,
Melbourne area. And I understand that, but certainly from the time we grew up, so I'll say the 70s, you could say the 80s, but
yeah.
in the time that we grew up, certainly my house did not have air conditioning. So if it was
Um,
summer, you felt
yeah.
hot, like we had a
Yeah.
fan, but that was about as good as it got.
Yes.
Whereas now I realize that in summer I spend so much time inside that I
Yep.
know I'm aware that it's a hot day outside. But
Yeah.
apart from the short little car trips or maybe an early morning walk with the dog, I'm not outside to really be immersed in the heat.
Absolutely.
And
I
that's
think
weird.
back, it is weird. Like I
Mm,
think back 80s, 90s, I would have
yeah.
we were lucky enough to have a pool. It was only
Mm,
ever really available like in summer when my dad cleaned it.
yeah.
So most of the time it was green and disgusting. You
Disgusting.
couldn't
Yeah.
see the bottom.
Yeah.
But we would have spent a lot of time outdoors in the pool because that was the
Yes.
only way to get true, authentic relief.
Exactly.
And we did have a little aircon, but you had to be right in front of it and
Yes.
only heated like a 2 meter kind of
Yep.
radius.
Cooled. Yes. That very
Yes, I
small
mean,
space.
cooled,
I
cooled.
got it. We all knew it. Yep.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. So
Mm,
let's go back
mm.
to what does green and blue space
Yes.
mean?
Let's
What
define them.
counts? Yeah, what counts as
Yep.
green space? And
Yeah.
as you may imagine,
Mm.
parks, forests,
Mm.
gardens, even
Yeah.
backyards.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to note that you can live somewhere where green space is in abundance. I live in
Yes.
an area I think it's called the Green Wedge. So it's
Right.
quite green around where I live.
Yep.
But if you live in a city or an
Yes.
apartment, local parks still count, like all those little bits,
Definitely. Yep.
green space. There's
Yep.
green space. There can be green space found wherever you are.
Yes. And I noticed that some of the newer apartments in inner city
Hmm.
include rooftop spaces that might be
Mm,
for the collective that
yeah,
everybody can use. And the
absolutely.
designers, I think, are paying a lot of attention to making sure that there's either vegetable gardens on the roof
Yeah,
or there are
yeah,
definitely trees, plants, vines, whatever, to
yes.
bring more of that green into people's living spaces.
Absolutely. I think
Mm.
that, in any terms of design, and I used to work for council where we'd look at open spaces, there was a
Yep.
certain percent that needed to have green
Yes.
space because we are more aware now that the
Yeah.
research shows that we do need green and blue
We
spaces. So,
do, for all the reasons that we'll get to. So a
correct.
green space is really a vegetation dominated space,
Yes, good.
isn't it? So
Yes,
that's a
good
good way to
description.
define that in a way.
Yes, it
What
is.
about blue spaces?
Well, all the things that you would imagine, oceans,
Mm.
rivers, lakes, water, views
Yes,
of water.
yes.
Yes, a
Water
fountain.
dominated spaces, a
Water
fountain.
dominated. A
Water
fountain.
dominated spaces, but also I don't want people to underestimate the impact that big blue can have in terms of big sky.
Yeah, that's a
Like
good
I know that
point.
when we talk about blue spaces, we're mostly referring to water dominated
We
spaces,
are.
but
Yeah.
also, I don't know, when you're on a property or you're in someone's backyard or in someone's front yard and you can see a
Yes.
lot of the
Yes.
sky and
Yes.
the importance of also seeing the horizon from time to time, maybe, but
Yeah.
just having that big,
This expanse.
expanse is
Yes.
important. If you think of people in very, very, very high density living who walk out
Mm.
their front door and there's like high rises all
Oh,
around,
yeah,
you only get
absolutely.
these tiny little snippets
Hmm.
of blue space.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's an important thing to think about as well when we think mostly about the ocean and the water and the rivers and the lakes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyday nature counts. So,
Mm,
like,
mm,
just it's really important that we look for the little bits that are around us. It's the
mm.
bits that are readily accessible
Yeah,
because people might be, as we're talking about this, thinking about the trips they take to the beach or,
yeah,
when they book the Airbnb in the country, maybe.
yeah,
But that's all wonderful and
yep.
absolutely is great for our
Oh,
health.
yeah.
But we also want to talk about the regular exposure we can get, the stuff that's readily accessible.
Really.
And like you said, being able to look at the sky, your local park, all of those things
Yes.
absolutely
Yeah.
count.
So if we look at the research that's kind of around
Mm.
this space, certainly the World Health Organization and global health bodies recognize that nature exposure is linked to a number of key beneficial health factors.
Yes.
So should we have a look at those?
Oh, there's so
Mm.
many. There's
Mm.
actually a big body of research when it comes to green and blue spaces and health.
Yep.
But time in nature is associated with lower anxiety and depression symptoms.
Yep. So right from the get-go,
Mm.
as two psychologists talking about the beneficial effects,
Yeah.
let's have a look at the role that green and blue spaces can play in our mental health, in our mood.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just on that
Mm.
note, when I
Mm.
go to the beach and
Mm.
when we often go to the beach and like we drive up to watch, like there's a spot where you can stop where you watch the
Yep.
surfers, what's
Yeah,
that called?
great.
The lookout.
Yep, great.
No one's going in at that point there.
Mm.
And just like your shoulders drop and you exhale, where
Yeah.
you're smelling
Oh, the sea
the
smell.
sea air and you're just
Yes.
looking at the water and you're watching the ebb and the flow of the tide,
Yeah.
is something about that
Yep.
that just, it's the exhale.
It
I
does.
can feel that. Like I
Yep.
can really feel that. So it's not a big leap to go, oh, I can see how time spent in nature could reduce
Yeah.
anxiety or depression
Depression. That's right.
symptoms. Yeah.
The symptoms of that change
Yes.
our mood a little. That
Yes.
whole, whenever I look at waves, there'll be a moment where I have a thought that that wave, I know it's a different wave every time, but that those waves are happening regardless of what I'm doing in my life. So I can be
Yes.
stressed about work or
Uh-huh.
overwhelmed by stuff with kids or whatever. Those waves are still crashing against that beach. They don't care what I'm doing,
No, they
how stressed I
don't.
am. They're just
No, they
going
don't. They're
one
just
after the
going.
other. And there's something
Yes.
in that for me that makes me just bring it right back to basics
Yep.
and remind myself that take a breath.
Take a breath.
Yep, it's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
What about reducing stress biomarkers? So this is a big factor around
Mm-hmm.
what can come from spending more time in green and blue spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one. So stress reduction elements are there for the
Yes,
taking.
absolutely.
Yep.
Improved cognitive function and attention.
Yes.
Interesting. When you're
Yes.
spending time in
Mm.
nature, it's
Mm-hmm.
fair to say that you're focus is you're a lot more present.
Yep.
You're a lot more grounded, much more
Yep.
connected in.
Yep.
I know it's a broad statement, but
Mm.
if you think about the times when you're spending out and you're immersed in nature,
Yes.
you're more likely to just be present and
Yeah.
experience what's around you than being on your phone, looking at emails, doing
Correct.
multiple things at the one time.
Correct. And you
Yes.
alluded before to my recent trip camping.
Mm.
And absolutely, like within the first probably 6 hours, I would have recognized all three of the dot points that we've touched on.
Yes.
Like an improvement in mood, but absolutely mood, but absolutely a reduction in stress. And this
Mm.
improved cognitive function, just as you were saying, being able to just focus on what's in front of me, what's around me,
Yeah.
because you're just literally living outside. You are kind of at one with the dirt.
Yeah. At one
You,
with the dirt.
yeah, you are. After probably about 6 hours, you're like, okay, I'm all right
Yeah.
now. I've settled
Yes.
into this. My
Yep.
feet are going to be dirty. Let's just own that.
Yeah. Let's own it.
Yeah. And you're surrounded by all of the noises and all of the colors and all of the smells. It's
Yes.
such a sensory experience.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah, that it really does impact those three areas, the stress, the
Mm.
cognition, and the mood. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
There's also some research on the fact
Mm.
that there's this touches what we said, but this
Yep.
concept of psychological restoration.
Right.
And that refers to the capacity for natural environments to replenish our
Mm.
brain function, which can be depleted just by the everyday grind, right? Like
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
stress of just everyday situations that we're in. So,
yeah.
research shows that natural environments seem to provide our mind with restful experiences,
Right.
reducing the need for directed attention.
Yep.
And there was a study, the
Yeah.
largest epidemiological study of its kind found that being outdoors in green space provides a respite for overstimulated minds. And it
Mm.
also found that the effects are dose dependent. So that means the more you're exposed to red or blue spaces, the greater the benefits, which makes so much sense.
Right. So there's a great place in this podcast for us to pause for everybody to hear that main statement, which is dose dependent. So the more time you spend in green and blue spaces,
Mm.
the greater the benefit
Yes. And we
for
are going to touch
psychological health.
for
Is that right?
psychological health for this
Great.
like restoration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful
And
thing to take home with us as the message.
absolutely. And we
Yep.
are going to talk about how even
Mm.
small doses can make a really significant
Yeah.
difference later.
True,
So
true,
you don't
true.
have to be like, I need to spend 6 hours,
No, no.
There's small doses make a really
Yes. Something is better than nothing.
yes.
And then if you can build on that, even better, because I spent 2 weeks camping. So it's 2 weeks
Yes.
sitting outside. It's amazing. And not
Yes.
everybody can do that. I can't do that
Correct.
every
Correct.
day, nor would I
No.
want to. Too much dirt.
Yeah,
But
too much.
for little holidays, but in micro doses, great.
Yes. Well, actually,
Mm.
what the research says is that it's
Yep.
2 hours a week in nature that's associated with good
Oh,
health.
that's a good thing to know.
Mm.
2 hours a week in nature. So that would include all the activities. That would include going for a walk with the dog, but it would
Yeah.
also include sitting outside while you're having your cup of
Correct.
tea.
Absolutely. So you
Okay.
don't need to live by the ocean. You don't need to
Yeah.
be in the countryside to
Yep.
experience exactly what you said,
Yeah,
going to the
good.
park, the local pool, the lake, the
Yeah.
creek.
Yep.
Touch grass, as my kids always say. You know
Touch
that saying?
grass.
Touch grass.
Yeah.
Go out
I
and
wonder
touch
if this
grass.
includes, this is an absolute kind of sidetrack, but I wonder if it includes looking at the night sky. Because I find looking at the night sky
Oh,
very kind of
it
replenishing.
is
But
replenishing.
that's not green or blue, Siona. So maybe we'll leave
Black
that to another
space,
time. Black spaces.
green, blue, or black
Sparkly
spaces.
spaces?
There is something
Oh.
very, very replenishing
Oh,
about being at
is.
night, especially when it's cool and you're
Yes.
interesting. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So we've
Yeah.
touched a little bit on about this, but how do blue spaces in
Yeah.
particular,
Yep.
how do they support well-being?
Well, it's very different, isn't it? When we talk about blue spaces and we think about, for example, the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very different experience, particularly if you're in it, in the ocean, than looking at how a green space would impact on you. So yeah,
Yes.
let's talk about maybe being in the water. How does that
Oh,
impact?
that
You
is
love it, don't you?
just,
You love an ocean
I
swim.
love it. It's
Mm.
very, very grounding for me.
Mm.
And it's really humbling as well because it reminds you how small you are.
Yeah,
If you
it's so
just float
small.
in the ocean,
Yeah,
you're just like,
tiny.
wow, I'm a nothing
You're a
in a
speck.
good way. I'm a speck in a good
Yes,
way.
in a good way.
And I think I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but on New Year's Day, my husband and I
Mm.
got up early. We went down, got
Yeah,
in
you
the
did.
water. I
Yep.
did, yeah.
Yep.
And no one else around. It's very quiet. It's really, really magical.
Yep.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
and for me, like it obviously it's I really like cold water, but
Yep.
that feeling of it when you get out and you start to warm up as well, it's
Yep.
like I know there's
Regenerating.
science behind that. It's like the with
Mm.
what is it? The
Oh,
rim
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as
Yes.
you start to warm back up and you get all this,
It's
I
great
don't
for
know,
you.
dopamine. It's all, it activates your, it does all these things of which the science I don't exactly know and can't speak to now, but I know that there's something very magical for me about, and
Yeah.
I feel so alive. That's what
That's
it is.
great. Now, for the people listening at home, you may relate to Siona, but oh my gosh, I
You
can't
do not.
stand cold water. I'm not,
That's
I
so
just can't.
funny.
So we were away, camping by the
Yes.
ocean. We were right
Yes.
on the beach, essentially. And we had pretty good weather. It was pretty mild for most of it. And we had
Mm.
some really hot days. So I got into the ocean a grand total of once, even though
Wow.
it could have been like my kids were in it most days.
Yes.
And it was so hot. It would have been like close to 40 degrees, maybe high 30s.
Yeah.
And it took that temperature to get me into the water. And I still went on with my hat on and I had like a summer dress over my bathers because I wasn't sure if I would actually go in. But then I was in and it was fine.
Wow.
But once and it was really lovely.
Yes.
But
But
I don't want to jump into cold water. It's
yeah.
almost painful to me.
Yeah,
Like I just
interesting.
no,
You're
it's
like, this
not.
is not,
No.
that is not the blue space for you in that particular
Yes,
area is not replenishing, and that's fine.
correct.
And I
I'm
think
much
that's a
more of a green
really,
space person than a
yeah, and
blue
that's a
space
really
person.
good
Yep.
point to touch on is that you
Yes.
don't have to get benefits from all the spaces.
Correct. That's correct. I don't have
You
to force
can,
myself into the blue ocean.
no,
No.
exactly.
Good.
You can find a lot more benefit in the green spaces,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
example.
Love the
And
green
I'm much
spaces.
more of a blue spaces
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of
Thank
gal.
you. All right. Good. Bumper
Um,
stickers. I don't know.
yes.
Or
Oh my gosh.
t-shirts. Yeah.
T-shirts. I'll add to my collection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many reasons that blue space can feel, well, the ocean in particular, water can feel calming.
So blue spaces are not my thing, like we were saying. I'm much more of a green
Hmm.
space person, but I do find it interesting the rise up of salt baths. And I know that you've had a salt bath before and love it.
Flotation tank, love it.
Flotation tank. So isn't
Yes,
it
mate.
interesting that for those of us who maybe do not live by the ocean, it's
Hmm.
kind of made its way into the urban environment in this form of
Yes,
flotation tanks because
yes,
everybody understands the benefits.
correct. And
So
we're,
yeah,
yeah, that's right. And it's
mm,
cleverly marketed as
yes,
well.
very clever.
So,
Mm,
why does water feel so calming?
mm,
I think it's a really interesting to think about. Is it an evolutionary response or this learned
mm,
association around water?
mm.
And I think, I mean, there's many reasons, but water likely feels calming because our nervous systems are wired to respond to it, right? So if we think
Yep,
about it from an evolutionary perspective, and I love this,
yep.
water meant survival. It was
Mm,
hydration, it was food, it was
yes,
safety. You talked
yes.
about that's almost like predictable rhythms. No matter what I'm doing, the ocean is
Yeah,
going in and
yep.
out, the tide. So
Mm,
environments with water can signal to our bodies
yep,
that it's a resource and it's available. And so our
yeah.
brains interpret it as a safe space.
Yes. Interesting. I
And
do.
that, and then if we've got safer spaces, then our
Yep.
sympathetic nervous system reacts accordingly.
Yep.
And we naturally lower our stress. And
Mm,
I imagine our parasympathetic nervous system
yes.
activates and we're like,
Yep.
we're safe,
Perfect.
we're calm.
So
Yeah.
it's evolutionary from that point of view, but also the learned behavior, because that
Mm.
if, kids were exposed to a pool when they were growing up, or they
Yes.
went camping by the beach, or, they just have this affinity for being in the blue as
Yes.
they get older because they loved it as a child. So it is a
Correct.
combination of all.
It is because it's linked to rest, holidays, play, like you
Yes,
said,
exactly.
fun. Yeah. So it
As
is.
opposed to, sorry, a builder that came and did some work at our place recently, and he noticed that one of our gutters was dripping.
Mhm.
And he said, "Oh, I think there's a little bit of rust there." And he took some photos and he said, "Look, essentially water is evil." And I couldn't help
Oh.
myself. I was like, "And life." Yep, but keep going.
And also life-giving.
And also life.
Evil and
Like
life-giving.
everybody needs it. We need it for everything. It is so much a part of our
What a
body.
strong statement.
Yes. So
Aren't we
anyway,
90% water,
water. We
80%?
are
Anyway.
something, a big
Oh,
percentage of water.
interesting. Okay.
Mm.
So let's touch on why this even matters, especially if you live with a chronic health
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah.
Why even nature? Like
What is the
why is
point?
it, what is the
Yeah.
point? Why is it especially important?
Yeah. Well, I think we've got to remember the three dot points that we said before.
We do.
So nature can support the three areas of stress reduction or stress
Hmm.
regulation, sorry,
Yes.
mood improvements, and cognitive and physical health. So they're the big
Yeah.
ones.
They're the big ones. Absolutely.
Yep. But also potentially some studies try to, excuse me, extrapolate from stress research and say
Hmm.
that fatigue management could also benefit from
Yes.
spending more time in blue and green spaces by
Yes.
lowering that psychological burden, by
Yes.
improving stress levels.
Yeah,
So it
absolutely.
could be one of the multitude of factors that are needed for good fatigue management strategies.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
That's a really good point.
yep. It could also have a positive impact on our identity
Yes.
beyond
Explain more.
illness. So if you touch back into a love of green or blue spaces, if you
Hmm.
spend more time, and like we say, it doesn't have to be at the beach, it could be in the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe that's a way to reconnect with another part of your identity that is not so illness focused.
Yes, I like that. And I think by nature, when people live with a chronic health condition,
Mm.
there is a slowing or a changing in the way their life looks as
Hmm.
opposed to prior to diagnosis.
Yep.
And then it opens up space for other things, of which can be, nature and spending more
Yeah.
time out. So you're right.
Yes.
Like yes, I wouldn't have thought about that before, but it can,
Mm.
potentially have a positive impact on our identity.
Yeah, that's right. We know lots of people who have had to change their passion projects or what they love in life because
Hmm.
of, for example, mobility issues that
Hmm.
stop them from being a marathon runner, for example, or doing a wide range of physical activities. So sometimes people can really successfully pivot and find something to do with nature that they can
Yes.
become really passionate about, whether it's tending to a vegetable garden. We talk
Yeah.
a lot about, we've talked a lot about with some people, raised vegetable gardens that make it
Yes.
really accessible and easy.
Yep. Yep.
Or I've had a couple of clients in the past that have been lovers of bonsai.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
and the
funny. The
very
pruning of
gentle, yeah,
the,
very
yes,
gentle, very slow attention placed on
yes,
one plant and will set themselves outside in order
yes.
to do that work.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, which is really lovely and very peaceful and very kind of
Very.
connecting. Yeah. So it's been really
Yes.
great for their identity, but also their stress levels, their
Yeah, yeah,
concept of
yes.
self. Yeah. And their productivity, how to spend
Yes.
time. Yeah. It's
I
been really
love
good.
that. So I
Yeah.
guess that one of the main points is that if for many people who live with chronic health conditions,
Yes.
being in nature doesn't mean hiking, running marathons in the
Correct.
countryside,
Yep.
but it can be seeing the sky, experiencing the wind, looking at the
Yes.
trees, sitting outside doing bonsai, tending to your plants.
Or just
Yeah.
sitting and, like you said, sitting and feeling the breeze and
Mm.
then, touching back in with all of the senses.
Yeah,
So
touch
today,
and
when I
grass.
took the dog for a walk, which I do
Hmm.
after I drop the kids off every morning, and I take her through, I've got a beautiful reserve. I'm actually sitting like our house is in between two really great nature reserves.
Oh,
And one
lovely.
has a little lake. It's beautiful. And the other one is just like full on Australian bush. Like it's a
Mm.
little tiny little track, but
Yes,
through lots of trees and lots of,
amazing.
but yeah, it's amazing. Really hot in summer though, and a bit scary
Mm.
with snakes. So I kind of avoid that one
Oh,
in,
yes,
yeah.
snakes and dog, and
Yeah,
yes,
but
of
in
course.
winter, exquisite and big kangaroos, so you have to be a
Mm.
bit careful. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, it's sounding
Um,
a little bit terrifying as well.
yeah,
But
yeah, I
anyway, carry
know.
on.
Snakes.
Yep.
But when I was walking through the other park this morning, I was like, right, I knew we were doing this podcast. I'm like, how many birds can I identify? Or not identify because
Oh,
I'm not
but
that person, but how many can I hear? How many different,
yes.
I don't have the knowledge, I mean, by that.
Yep.
And I think I heard 5 or 6 different birds.
Oh,
And it was
lovely.
really lovely to actually try and concentrate on that and figure out,
Mm.
I knew some of them. There was a magpie. There were those annoying minor birds. There were
Oh, yeah.
ducks. There was even a kookaburra,
Oh, yeah, I love a
the
kookaburra.
king of the Australian bush.
Yes. Oh, I
Love
love that.
kookaburra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and I mean, right there, you're present,
all
right?
the senses, the
Yeah, I
smells,
love it.
the sounds, the
Yeah.
touch if you want to touch
Yeah.
the grass. Yep, lots of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of things.
Mm, mm.
There's also, I mean, there's so many quotes about nature, right?
Oh my gosh, there are some rippers.
Stop it.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
are the
I'm
rippers,
sorry, I said
Sally?
that word again. What are the
Give,
rippers? So
well,
there was a
give us a
guy
ripper.
in America called John Muir, who
Yes.
was a naturalist, a farmer, bit of a
Yep.
scientist, environmentalist. And he said a couple of really good ones. Like he says, in every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. I like that one.
Ooh. Yeah,
And
I like
this one
that.
is, and into the forest I go to lose my mind and find my soul.
Oh,
Love that too. Like lose my mind as in to just let all of
yeah,
those,
yeah, yes.
you know,
I
the
like that
busyness,
one.
but I find my soul there.
Into the forest I go to lose my mind and my soul.
Or Shakespeare, the earth has music for those who listen.
Yes.
I like that one
I'm
too.
sitting with these.
Good.
I like them.
Edward Abbey, another American kind of
Hmm.
environmentalist, I guess. Wilderness is not a luxury, but a necessity of the human spirit.
Yes.
That's an important one, don't you
That's
think?
it. Yeah, absolutely. I think that touches on our Indigenous people and their
Oh,
connection
yes.
to earth and country, of
Yep.
which, I mean, again, I'm speaking very generally and broadly, but
Yep.
in today's society, we don't have
Yeah.
that. We're not connected to the
Yep.
earth. We're not connected to the things around us. And
Yep.
I remember speaking to a woman
Mm.
many years ago who had moved from a different country and was renting and was
Yep.
saying that plant, she would plant
Yes.
gardens, and then what often happened was she would have to move on because the rental was sold.
Oh,
And so very often she didn't get to,
oh. See
to
it
have the fruits of
grow.
her labor. Yeah.
Yes.
And so she said having a
Yeah.
property or a piece of land is such a
Yeah.
privilege. And from
Yes.
that, we should grow and give back to the earth. And it's always
Yep.
sat with me.
Yep.
Have I done that well? Absolutely not. But I have
Oh,
attempted. And I think that is
yes.
the key.
But tempted.
I haven't
That's right.
tried, but it's, yeah, where we can, we give back to the earth, we
Yes.
connect ourselves. So yes,
Yep.
I mean, I sound like I'm getting a bit deep here, but
I love
yeah,
it.
I
Yep.
think there's definitely a disconnect.
Yes, there is. There's a great quote, and I've forgotten the actual quote, but a guy that
Hmm.
says the one of the biggest acts of self, I don't know if it's selflessness, something like that,
Hmm.
is to plant a
Oh,
tree, knowing that you will not live long enough to see it in its magnificent glory to provide shade to
oh,
others.
I like that.
And I picture those really
Gosh,
massive trees in the middle of paddocks, you know, that
yes.
take 60 years to grow. And
Mm.
when you're planting it as a 40, 50-year-old, maybe,
Yeah,
you,
that's
you
like
know
you
you're not going to
won't.
see it, but it will
No.
provide so much benefit to animals, to other humans, to, you know, the biosphere
Yes.
around it.
Gosh, I'm just thinking growing up, we used to do
Mm.
lots of days or events where there would be
Yes,
planting of trees.
yes,
Not once have I been invited to anything of long or heard of it.
yep,
Maybe it's a very school younger thing that's still done. I don't know,
yeah,
but I remember on like
yeah,
5, 6, 7 occasions going with my little
yeah.
trees and planting
And the
them.
little triangles with the
Yeah,
plastic. Yep,
correct.
yep.
Interesting.
I
Anyway,
know.
we touched on this before, but
Mm.
micro doses of nature
Yes.
count.
Yeah, they do.
So we want everyone to be thinking about the fact that we're
Yes.
prescribing
Yep.
micro doses here. So
Yes.
evidence really does support that brief nature exposure, short durations
Yeah.
make a difference, can be linked to better mood, lower
Yeah.
stress, all the points that we've already talked about.
Yep.
And you touched on this before, but views of green and blue
Mm.
space
Mm.
around the home are also linked with lower
Yes.
anxiety and depression. So if you can plant some things, if you can
Yeah.
have some green in the house, if you can
Yes.
look out the windows.
Yep.
About 3 years ago, we did some renovations to our
Yeah.
house and we had this new deck that we built.
Mm.
And one of the things I had said is I want to be able to see a wall of green.
Yes, that head.
Yes, and I'm also massively
Yes.
impatient. So the lady we we're working with, she was like, "Oh, we could plant this and this," and I'm like, "Just give me a time frame here." And she's like,
Yep.
"In 5 to 10 years, this will be glorious." It was like 20 different things. I'm
Yep.
like, "Yeah, that's not really gonna work for me."
I need
And
it
she's
to be
like, "Or
faster.
I know." She's like, "Or you can get this hedge called it's like a weeping lily pilly."
Oh,
And
gorgeous.
she's like, in a couple of years, these
Yeah.
and they grow to like 10 meters. So it's not quite there.
Beautiful.
They're like maybe 7 meters, but it's just a
Wow.
massive wall of green.
Yeah. Love
The
it.
thrill it brings me, like we've got stairs, and when you walk down the
I
stairs,
can
I mean,
see
or you're
it.
just in the kitchen, it's just green everywhere outside.
Lovely.
Thrilled,
Yeah.
thrilled.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It makes a huge
Great.
difference.
So I like what you're saying because you're demonstrating that you don't have to be on the nature trail and on the hike. You don't even have
Correct.
to be sitting out in it, although I think that it's a great thing to do.
Yes, it
But
is.
just seeing it from your window is good, and anybody can orchestrate that either by putting in some Neighbours Be Gone or some green lily pillies or
Neighbours be
a
gone.
couple of
Can't.
really good pot plants
Yes.
positioned in the right spot in your house or
Yeah.
outside the window.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Proximity matters, is what we're
Yeah.
saying. So the closer
Yeah.
and more accessible nature is, the
Yeah.
biggest protective effect.
Yep.
And whatever is going to work for you, use it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So you really don't need hours or a hike, just even small, consistent contact with nature counts.
brilliant.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Good. I have given a couple of people that I've worked with a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about exercise prescriptions or sleep
Mm.
prescriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about sleep prescriptions, actually. That's a bit hard.
Yeah.
But I have given a couple of people just in our conversations an
Mm-hmm.
idea of why not try for a couple of weeks to have 15 minutes outside each day
Yes.
and see how it feels.
Yeah,
Just see how it feels. Because what's
yeah.
the worst that can happen? You can say after
Yeah.
2 weeks, no, I feel the same. There's no point in
Yes.
doing that.
Yes.
But 15 minutes a day sitting outside, I like dappled sun. I like something if it's not too hot. I like lots of things. But where can you sit that is meaningful to you in or around your house
Yes.
where you were exposed to some green space, maybe some
Yeah.
blue space of the sky?
Mm.
And genuinely, people report it as beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if anyone came back and said, hated
Mm.
it, was awful, really ruined.
What a waste of time.
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on something important, which is
Mm.
that sort of performing wellness, that performance
Yeah.
trap, which is we talk about this and people may be listening and think, oh, it's another should, it's another I have
Yeah,
to
I
have
know, you're
this.
right. You're right.
Yeah, and I hear that
Yep.
and I acknowledge that.
Yes.
And we want to think of it as something that can be added. It's not a task.
Yes.
It's something that you can just set up and have like those little, it might just be the rather than eating inside, you eat outside.
That's exactly it.
Like
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
It's making a small shift where it
Yes.
doesn't feel like you have to endure something or it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like it becomes a should. And
Yep. So you can reframe it so we can see nature as a restful presence in our lives rather than something on the task list.
Yes, absolutely.
So we could say we can rest in nature. We
Yes.
don't have to go out there to tick something off the list.
Yes, exactly. And I think we've discussed lots of different ways to creatively sort of engage, the views from windows, like I said about my lovely wall of green.
Yes.
You've talked about sounds of birds. And if you live
Yeah.
somewhere where there is birds, like
Yep.
wonderful, like
Great.
that.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you're not so lucky, and look, sometimes we don't have the time, and I know a lot of people don't walk the dog before they start work every day. Sometimes if it's nice weather, I put the kettle on to boil for the cup of tea in a break during the day. And while the kettle is boiling, I will just go outside and I will just take a big breath and I like to feel the weather. Like I said
feeling the
before,
weather
if
is
there's air
nice.
conditioning inside, I'm very lucky and I'm so thrilled to have air conditioning. But it's so nice to be able to feel the weather and breathe it in and kind of feel like, okay, I'm engaged with the day, not just my office.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite weather is when it's cool, like in winter.
Yep.
When it's not freezing, where you can sit outside when the sun hits your face and you close your eyes.
Yes.
I feel like the cold, I feel more alive in that cold.
Yep. Yep.
Something about that for me where you're just inhaling and it feels fresh and you just feel
Beautiful.
so, I love that. But yes, if you don't have birds around
Yeah.
and you want to listen to sounds like nature
Yes.
sounds, you know what I do when I want to like drown out noise of my children or my husband and I want to have a nap, which I don't often do, but
Yeah.
I always my go-to is rain sounds or
Yes.
ocean sounds. Something
Yes,
about it.
about
That's
the
my go-to.
water.
Yeah, I've got it on my Apple, like
Yeah.
they're just there that I put on.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes it sound that you're so kind of lovely and calm and relaxed and almost romantic about that. Whereas when I think about myself, the sounds that help me go to sleep are just white noise. It's not very natural, is it?
It's not very natural, but it's almost like the rain. Rain is a little bit white noisy.
It is.
Yeah,
It's just the sound of a fan that I love.
Oh,
Yeah.
the sound of a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Interesting.
So let's wrap this up.
Yeah, okay.
So you don't need to perfect nature. You don't have to have it in a perfect way in your life. It just needs to be meaningful to have few bits that actually make a difference where you feel the benefit rather than being like, oh, Sienna and Sally's talked about this or I've read something and I'm going to have to force myself, just where you feel a benefit having the cup of tea outside.
Absolutely. Find the activity that can help you rest in nature, maybe, rather than making you feel like you've got to be productive in nature.
Yeah, that's
You just
good.
want to take it in. You want to absorb it. You just want to open yourself up to the blue or to the green and see how it impacts on you.
I like that you said that. You don't have to be productive. Nature does not expect anything of you.
No, it doesn't care.
Yes.
Whatever you do, it
doesn't
will
care.
continue to do what it wants.
Yes.
Yep,
So this
great.
is an invitation to notice, to get out, to be, touch grass, touch the earth, be one. Yeah. It's not performance, not performing wellness. It's just, being in your surroundings.
And you might find that you notice, oh, this feels a bit different. Like I haven't spent much time outside for a
Mm,
while, actually. So this is novel or interesting. And how do
mm.
I like it? So yeah, notice it, observe it, see what you think,
Yeah,
but get on
lovely.
it.
Get on
Get on it.
it. Sally, what are you looking forward to?
Okay, I've got a really random one this week. It's a bit
Oh, yeah,
disgusting.
go.
Oh my gosh, it's such a bad story, but I'll make it quick. I'm looking forward to the guys coming and treating my house for spiders
Oh dear.
and ants and things. And traditionally, the last few years we have done that. We've got, and
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about it because I think they've got to spray
Like a
things and
bomb. Are they
all
doing
right.
bombs?
No, they don't do
Oh,
bombs. Like we don't have a problem, so
okay.
there's no infestation of anything that needs to be eradicated.
Okay.
But every year, if we don't get this treatment happening, then I start seeing little spiders appear. And I'm
Oh,
like, oh, okay, well, we need to do that treatment again so that they just stay out of the house, keep
yes.
them in the garden.
Yes.
So the other day, I have not told anybody this, it's so disgusting. The other day, I noticed something that I just felt something on my shoulder, like under my shirt on my shoulder. And I was on a call with somebody, so I was just kind of like flicked my shirt up and down to kind of move it. I thought it was like a bit of cotton. And then
Oh,
I continued with the
Debs.
session that I was, having, and I felt something crawling on my back between my dress
Oh.
and my skin. And
How
I
did you
did,
not scream and
yeah,
jump off the?
well, I was in a very intense conversation, so I did not want
Um,
to break that. So I grabbed the back of my dress where I felt this thing crawling like this, like grabbed
and
it and squished whatever it
oh
was
my
in my
gosh.
dress. And then resumed, like just continued on and kind of got my dress up here and shook it out a little bit without being too obvious.
Wow.
Waited for the session to finish and then stood up, and it was a very large white-tailed spider.
Oh my gosh.
I died. I died.
Dead.
It did not bite me. Thank the Lord, but it was in between my
It
dress
was.
and my body, crawling on me. Ew.
Oh my gosh, that is
So
disgusting.
thank you.
And how calm were you? I would have had, wouldn't have mattered who I was talking to. I would have
Yeah, just
screamed. I would
screamed and
have,
jumped up. Yeah.
yeah,
I tried to be calm because in my mind, I'm like, maybe that wasn't a spider. Like maybe it wasn't. Sometimes we have funny sensations and maybe it
yes.
wasn't anything.
No, but at you, oh
But it
my
was when I
gosh.
stood up, I found out what it was, and that's what it was. So, what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to having those
I am
spiders.
looking forward to that for
Great.
you.
Yeah, thank you. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to my son turned 12 last week.
Oh,
And
wow. Big birthday.
it was big birthday. He's officially a tween. And
Yes.
we are having a party upcoming for him. But
Yep.
we've already done many things already.
Right.
He's got a party.
Festival.
It's a festival. It's weeks,
Great.
right?
Great.
He's having a sleepover. We're doing a thing, and then we've got a family dinner. So there's lots and lots of things happening. And I am looking forward to it because
Brilliant.
yeah, it's
Fun.
exciting. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
enjoy the preparation of the next
Thank
birthday event.
you. Thank you. I will see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.